started too. For those of you that can't make it, maybe you're gonna look at it later. Right. Hang on, let me turn this off. Absolutely, this is what it means to have conviction in a trade. Right, hang on. Right, can you guys see the screen? Right, okay, great. We are going to be just looking at Bitcoin, looking at ETH, and then just taking it from there. Okay, so first of all, like I was saying for Bitcoin, my blow off top thesis was always anywhere between 121 to 132, right? Obviously since the last stream, we've gone and hit the first target now, right? 121, 413, we've hit it. That is what we are rejecting off of as we speak. Is this indicative of a top? No, I'm not going to look at this and say, oh yeah, the top is in or anything like this, right? People expect that a lot. Yes, initial supply is coming in here, but that's because we're at a significant level. Nothing more, nothing less, right? This is in price discovery. We are in, seasonality wise, we are in extremely bullish periods, right? So no one's to look at this and think, oh yeah, I've caught the top, right? If you manage to get some sort of short off here, that's exactly what it should be. You should be thinking of that like a scalp. No one should be opening any swings based off, oh, I got one SFP. That is a premature short if I've ever seen one. If you're thinking of catching the top with it, basically. Okay, this can easily just keep lasting higher. So for now, my blow up top thesis was always, and you guys that are regularly in the streams, watch my videos, know every single week, like a couple times a week, I release videos from our own server. Every time I'm saying 121 to 132. These are the levels we've been looking at religiously for a long time, right? And so it shouldn't come as a surprise to those of you that are regular to my streams, to my videos, that 121, 413 has been hit and we're rejecting off it, right? We hit the first two targets back in December, start of this year, right? The 2.618 to 2.24. That's still what we were chopping in between. As long as we held that, we said, eventually you're gonna go up towards the blow off top thesis, and the blow off top thesis has been respected. So 121 has been hit. 132 I'd be more than happy with. If you go higher than that, that does not mean, and this is not me saying we're going to top out 132. I'm going to look for weakness at this area, 121 to 132. I'm going to look for macro weakness. I'm looking for weekly, 2-week, monthly bearish divergences. I'm looking for massive buyer absorption, trapped longs, right? I'm looking for trapped spot buyers. I'm looking for long-term holders offloading. There's so much that goes into looking for, I'm looking for distributive structure, right? There's so much things I'm going to be keeping an eye on. This is not it. Right? I'm not going to be looking at this and thinking I'm going to eat my entire bag off, all my spot BTC, my swing long from 39k. I'm going to close it because I see one SFP. It's not the case. Okay. My swing long from 26k, I've been very open about this. That's not open, right? That's 26k swing long. I closed that as soon as we hit 76 because it didn't make sense for me to hold that. The whole reason I've got a 39k swing open is because I knew I'd be closing this one somewhere around the rate of the all-time highs because I wasn't expecting a clean breakthrough, and we were here for like 8 months. If I left that 26k swing open, funding would have absolutely eaten me alive, right? So that's the reason I've not got that 26k swing open. Those of you that have been at Unity since for a long time, remember that swing. I shared that ages ago. But right now 121 and above that 132. Those are the two levels I'm looking at. And somewhere in between, we did have these levels as well, right? I gave this in my last video. I know a few of you looked at it. I know Bad Illusion looked at it. He mentioned the R play he took from looking at that video. But we hit the 1.14 more locally, right? The 618, the 1.618 has also been hit. We're rejecting off those levels. We're literally bouncing around those ABCD levels right now as we speak, right? That's what we're doing. This is not indicative of a top structure or anything like this, right? This can lead to a breakdown, and yet bears will think, oh yeah, the top is in. How many times have the people that are looking, that everyone you see posting short PNLs, majority of those try to catch the top here and try to catch the top here and try to catch the top here, try to catch the top here, just to be blown out every single time. We're in an uptrend, right? Just holding one trade from down over here, literally just spot Bitcoin, you would outperform any one of these people trying to short every single top. You're not going to make money doing that. Just let the strength play out. Now, is there limited upside on BTC? Yes, there is. Okay, but just because I'm saying BTC is going to top out here does not mean ALTs are going to top out here or anything like this. What we want is we want Bitcoin to go and range. That is what we want. Okay, we want Bitcoin to go. Let's say this is the top, then we don't want this. Right, that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for structure that looks something like this. Perhaps a new range is created, or maybe like for a divergence, you put another higher high in that gives you lower high in RSI, MACD, so on and so forth. Right, bearish cumulative delta, so on and so forth. This range where BTC goes sideways and Bitcoin dominance drops, that's where ALTs go crazy. ETH is already starting to pick up. Right, we need ETH to go to highs, rate the highs, make new highs, ETH BTC to run. That's when ALTs aren't just going to absolutely go parabolic straight away, right? But when they do, it's not going to be, oh, we're going to slowly grind up over time, nice and no, it's going to be absolutely lethal.
It's
Always
gonna
is,
be
right? It's going to
crazy.
be absolutely. Yeah, your sub Caleb, how you doing, bro?
How's it going, brother? You okay?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
Yeah, yeah, really good, man. Market's been crazy. Been timing it perfectly, so yeah, can't complain.
Yeah, yeah. It's been. I've just been. I had my laptop with me. I couldn't do much, in terms of like scalping or anything like this, but just been watching the spots and the swings go up. It's beautiful to see,
Yeah,
bro. Yeah.
I've had some nice trades on leverage on BTC, but mainly most of my gains have just been spot. I
Yeah.
chopped my bag actually on Friday. I chopped it a couple days early, but I did tell everyone in Unity. I said Monday we're gonna have a fat sell-off, which we had, and even from the 2nd of July, I don't know if you've seen my channel content, but I've been calling for all-time high adamantly.
Yeah.
So yeah, been really nice, man.
Yeah, for sure, bro. It's beautiful because we've been waiting for so long, right? So long for this to happen. So it's really satisfying that we're finally
Hello.
getting it. To the end of the
By
year,
the
I
way,
reckon. It's gonna be a great three.
we were at $18,000 3 years ago. To be chilling at around like 120K is massive. Like,
Yeah, 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 for sure, bro. I remember this as well. Clear as day when we were down over here. I was in uni when
mate,
this was happening.
mate, it was literally like yesterday, and now
Yeah,
fucking hell, look how much we've all grown and like how much money we've made. It's insane. Like,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
actually fucking insane. But I think cash is good to go lower here. I'm really targeting 4% as long as structure stays bearish.
yeah,
We just had a retest yesterday afternoon after New York Open of 4.44 bearish OB retest. So next, yeah, as soon as we lose really 4.25, I think we're good to get an extra. What's that on BTC from 4.25? That's you're looking at a 6% plus move on Bitcoin
yeah,
from CME, which takes us up to new all-time highs of 126K. I mean, my targets this year for BTC now, where we are, is like 130, 140K.
yeah,
I think Trump, I think Trump has more juice left in the tank to push this a lot higher. And obviously with Ethereum breaking out of structure as well, alts are going to start to go parabolic soon. Like, really, my major resistance on ETH was 3K. I had a long open last night while I was on the phone to my girl. So, yeah, it's some good times. But sorry to
no,
interrupt you,
no,
but
no
please.
problem at all, bro. No problem at all, man. No problem at all. Um, okay, so yeah, so what we're looking for is BTC to be range bound, right? Somewhere near all-time highs. BTC to be range bound and Bitcoin dominance to start absolutely bleeding. That's what you're looking for your alts to go parabolic, right? So BTC is not done yet, in my opinion. I do think we have more room in the tank, but alts will. So the way alts typically work is if this is your first cycle, right, and you're thinking, oh, we're gonna get a nice structure shift, and then we're gonna get higher highs and higher lows. We can size up, and it's not gonna happen that way on alts, okay? It's going to stay at the lows. It's going to stay at the lows. You're going to get maybe one shift in structure, and then it's going to absolutely run up. If you don't believe what I say, just go to any altcoin that's been around the last bull run. Go look at the weekly chart. Go look at the monthly chart. Once things went parabolic, you're talking 200, 300% pluses over the course of like a few weeks, right? So you're not going to be able to catch that move. Once it happens, right, it's still going to be very hard to catch, which is why we've always been saying every stream I've done, position when we're at the low, survive the chop, be rewarded, right? That's what we've always talked about. So the choppy period is pretty much done in my opinion. Maybe we get like some more flushes here and there, but no structural damage is going to be done even if that happens, right? And if we get it, it's just a blessing to add more before we really pump up. But Bitcoin for now, 121.413. That's your major level to watch, right? The macro 3.14. This hasn't changed. It's been the same level we've been looking at for absolutely ages. As soon as that C point came in, these were the four projected levels, right? So these levels have been on the screen since like 2024, right? Quarter three 2024. So well, 121.413, and after that 132.063. If you can get above it, I could see 150s coming even. But for me, for now, this is super extended. I would not be surprised if we don't go much higher than 132. Right? If anyone's talking about 200k Bitcoin, of course I'd be extremely happy if we did get 200k Bitcoin. But for me, that's a very like moonish target, right? Very euphoric target. For now, I just don't see, even in terms of like macro, I don't see the ETF inflows. I don't see what type of backdrop we'd have to rally us to 200k Bitcoin, right? Normies, I don't see normies coming in to buy something that is at 132k, for example. I don't see that happening. If you're a normie and you're coming in, are you going to look at Bitcoin and think, oh yeah, I'm going to buy this here? You're not, right? Retail isn't going to provide enough money to push it to 200k. And the way I see it, smart money, I don't see why they'd be out aggressively buying to push this to 200k either. So I think there's very limited upside left on Bitcoin, right? So
Sorry to interrupt
of
you,
course,
bro.
bro.
Quick question. Do you think we top in the next few years and enter a recession?
I think I think in terms of where Bitcoin's gonna top, I think it's gonna happen within the like, I mean, for this cycle anyway, quote unquote cycle. I think it's gonna happen within the next few months. By quarter four, definitely. I think, especially if we're talking like the whole bullish period, I think probably by the end of the year, the alts will probably have done majority of their moves as well. And I think 2026, maybe let's say by the end of quarter one onwards, I think we're probably going to enter into the next bearish period. Yeah. I don't think we have much like quote unquote time left in the actual bullish period for this portion of the market. I think by the end of this year, start of next year, we'll have pretty much done majority of the moves for Bitcoin, ETH, alts, and then after that, it's just going to be watching for those like distributed structures to form, and then I'll just be
Yeah,
closing majority of my positions. Yeah.
yeah, interesting. Because I was having the same conversation with Caspi and Sol, Sol,
Yeah.
and yeah, we were saying similar things. Like for me personally, it's like I don't know, Bitcoin and gold are safe havens, right? And
Mhm.
I think as DXY continues to go down, as M2 continues to go up, and you have that influx of supply, decrease of demand, obviously I think Bitcoin and gold are gonna continue to skyrocket.
Yeah.
But with altcoins and everything, yeah, I agree. We'll probably top like Q4, Q1 next year,
Yeah.
Q4 this, Q1 next year. So
Yeah, bro. I
yeah,
think somewhere around there.
we'll see. I think we just got to play it level by level.
Yeah,
Like
that's it. Yeah, that's it. Like I say,
I had
they
a
could do absolutely crazy stuff with this once it's in price discovery. So
Yeah, I actually had a perp shorts at 122 on Monday.
yeah.
Closed that down at 120. But I should have held that. That would have been an extra like
Yeah.
30K. But and then Tuesday afternoon I missed the long at 116, unfortunately. So yeah, right now where we are, we're kind of mid-range if you're thinking about 122, 123 as the highs and 116 as the lows of this range.
Yeah.
We're sort of just below mid-range now. So I think we just trade this range. I'm setting alert on trading view for 119.3. I think as soon as we get a breakout of 119.3, we're going to grab liquidity at 126. So this is the free long which I'm targeting
Yeah.
because I missed the pull back into the 116 order block. Um, is as long as we're trading this range between 119 and 116, in my opinion, it's a bit indecisive. I also want to target a long potentially at 117.8
Mhm.
or even like that pullback to 118. But yeah, I think that long at 119.3 when we get a high time frame close above that previous RS level is just going to be a free long. So that's what I'm personally waiting on next.
Yeah. No, I can see that, bro. For sure. Yeah, down over here. Flip it.
Yeah,
Go back up. Yeah.
yeah,
Right. Where was I? So, okay, that's this. But on Bitcoin, it's pretty straightforward. So there's that. What else? There's other things to look at. There is diagonals. For those of you that are new to this, just bear with me. So this is another perspective that I always talk about, which is diagonals. If I turn these two on, so that's the downtrend, there's the macro, and then there's the original there. Another way we were talking about this is this right here, right? So what I was saying was, as long as we are above this diagonal here, and we do not lose it on the higher time frame, right? Daily is not a higher time frame for me. I'm talking weekly and above. There is no loss of this level on the weekly, right? This bullishly engulfed, reclaimed. As long as you are holding this, we were saying eventually what's happening here is compression in terms of your higher time frame. This is macro multi-year diagonals, right? In terms of fibs as well. This is not just me randomly plotting lines on a screen. This is all in terms of fibs. As long as we are compressing within this area and you're holding this, eventually your intersections are either going to be higher or lower. Now, if this was resistance, you'd be targeting that lower level, right? And again, you guys will be familiar with this scenario. This is the scenario I was talking about we were going to get if we were going for a normal cycle, right? For us to go to a normal cycle to push that 150, 160k and above targets, I was hoping we would get a pullback to a cumulative structure, right? Smiley faces on the macro, hold the key levels, give big players chance to reload their bags, right? Liquidate a load of late longers from this range, generate a lot of liquidity, and then push higher. We didn't get it, right? We did not get that intersection. So the next targets would be this intersection up over here, right? Which is just about the range of mission now. And then you have the 142k, and of course by August you also have 135k. So as long as we are now above this entire zone, we are going to be targeting these prices here in the future, right? So they're your time targets and price targets. So maybe by at the end of July, even if you get another really bullish impulse, 142k for an extension. Otherwise, by August, 136k. And for now, the main thing to watch for is somewhere around 128, like 127, so on and so forth. This intersection just above us, right? Those are the three key points and three key time targets in top of price targets for us to watch for on Bitcoin. So that's in terms of diagonals. We've looked at it in terms of horizontals. That's it, right? There's nothing much to be done here on Bitcoin now. You're in price discovery. If you get a discount, right, you get like a massive flush to support, and you see buyers stepping in. Like if you're looking for a trade, you long that. If you see SFP as a key resistance, and then you see sellers showing control, you take a scalp short, right? But you don't open any shorts right now with the mindset you've caught the top. That's a very dangerous game to play. Okay, it's going to be scalps and maybe scalps to swings. But you're not going to open anything thinking, yeah, this is a swing for me, right? Before you open a swing, you need the reason. You need, in terms of structure, in terms of buyers versus sellers, in terms of key levels, price action. You need the reason for why do you think the top is in. We don't have any of that reason yet, right? Nothing convincing enough for you to warrant opening massive swing shorts open. So just a word of warning to do with that. Now, one other thing to look for is, of course, global liquidity, right? So this is something I have talked about before with you guys, maybe not much, but again, in my videos I talk about this a lot. So let me go to normal ones, 1 second, go to candles, and we are going to turn on global liquidity index. Okay, so what I mentioned is, and I've mentioned this a couple of times in my videos as well, is that global liquidity, right? Bitcoin tends to follow global liquidity with a 75 to a 3 month lag, right? 75 day to a 3 month lag. What I mean by this is, if you see global liquidity, right? For example, look at when global liquidity last bottomed, January 2025. Look at when BTC bottomed, right? April of 2025, March to April, right? When BTC topped here, September of 2024. When did BTC top here? December of 2024. Again, that 3 month lag, right? 3 month lag, 3 month lag. BTC bottomed, global liquidity bottomed over here, June of 2024. And then August to September is when this bottom came in again, 3 month lag, right? Before we had the next rally up. This top came in December of 2023. This top came in March of 2024, 3 month lag. So you can see this very, very clearly, right? Bitcoin is following global liquidity with, let's say, plus 75 day to a 3 month lag, right? If you want to give yourself a range. And on the macro, just say 3 months. We have for now what appears to be like a sharp sell-off. Right now, there's no guarantees that this is a top. This could put on the higher low and go up, right? But let's say that this is the top for now. Just for argument's sake, let's say global liquidity for now has topped out before we get another massive impulse down like this. Again, you're giving yourself 75 days minimum to a 3 month lag. And since on the macro, we've literally seeing this 3 month play out. If you give yourself a 3 month, this happened June of 2025, right? End of June, let's say July, August, September, October. So again, that takes us to basically Q4, right? It takes us to Q4 for when we expect Bitcoin to potentially top out, right? So this is a very beautiful indicator that I love looking at on the macro, right? This is global liquidity, and that's something else to watch out for. So basically, this means that even in terms of global liquidity, there's another confluence for why Bitcoin has not topped out yet. Okay, you're looking for that 3 month lag on the macro, as you can see, happening time and time again, right? So that's another perspective to look at. Let me go ahead and go back to my normal, because this is typically my market profile. Where's it gone? It's here. And then we're going to go on to, this is my scalping. Right, there we go. Okay, so that's Bitcoin, right? So do you guys have any questions before I move on any of that? So, how to know when BTC is done going higher? Well, I mean, there's no guarantee ways in which you're going to successfully say, oh yeah, BTC's topped out right now, right? There's never, it's never like that. But signs you're going to be looking for is, firstly, distributive structure, right? At key levels. The way I say is always this. Again, if you're new to my streams, if you're not new to my streams, you'll have heard me talk about this like so often. But if you're new to my streams, then here's something simple for you, okay? It's a 3-step process. If you're thinking of trading, investing, it's a 3-step process. Don't overcomplicate it. Number 1, learn to find significant levels, right? Number 2, learn to analyze price action at those significant levels, right? Whatever price action analysis means to you, it means different things to different people. And then number 3, learn to take risk managed entries once you've analyzed price action at your significant levels. That's all you need to do. There's no need to overcomplicate it, right? There's no 10-step process. There's no 20-step process. It's just this. You do this time and time again, day in and day out, right? Where you have your significant levels, you're analyzing price action, you're disciplined, and you're only taking risk-managed entries, RR trades that make sense. Profitability over time is going to be a byproduct, in my opinion, right? If it isn't, there is something fundamentally wrong with your system, either with where you're placing your significant levels, or how you're analyzing price action, or maybe with how you're managing your risk, right? But if you get these three things right, just three, you're going to be profitable over time, right?
Sorry to interrupt.
No, of course, brother.
Did Israel actually just attack Syria?
Was Syria get attacked again?
Yeah, apparently. If we lose 1184 as support, we're gonna go down on 117 and I'm gonna look for a breaker structure short on Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Setup's gonna be 0.5% technical stop just below previous higher low. And then take profits is gonna be 1R, 2R, 3R. So this is the setup I'm looking at right now, guys. What do you think, Weatherman? What do you rate my setup?
Say, so you have a, you're looking for a breaker structure. Is it off this high here? You're looking for
Uh,
like
break,
a,
break of
so last high
ideally,
low.
ideally, I wanted to catch a short when we rejected from 1193.
Mhm.
That would have been an ideal entry, or the break of structure at 119
Mhm.
for the previous higher low, 11909.
Yeah.
But I didn't catch that now. I'm looking for another boss below 1184 potentially. I'm watching price closely, but this is just like scalp trade trying to book 2R. Gonna go in with a $500,000 position size, and then yeah, we'll see how it
Yeah.
goes. I'm waiting for the trigger right now. Um, you had PPI inflation fall to 2.3. Where's the Syria news? Is this legit?
I wouldn't be
Syria,
surprised, to be honest.
yeah.
Wouldn't be surprised at all.
Yeah, Israel launches a massive drone attack. Mate, Israel's on one, aren't they? Like,
Oh
you know
God,
they,
don't get me started, bro. Fucking hell.
oh, bro, know they made it illegal for people to protest for Palestine in the UK because it's obviously like under terrorism and stuff like this. But let's be real now, we all know who the real bad guys are.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. It's such a
It's funny.
joke, man. It's a joke.
It's such a joke. It's proxy wars, and I mean, if you just look at what Edward Netanyahu's been spewing for the past 40 years, is very disgusting to be honest. So yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah. Everyone's favorite Polish Israeli, mate. Fucking idiot. Um,
Is he a Polski?
yeah, bro. Bro, majority of the people live in Israel right now. You know, DNA tests are banned in Israel because majority of the people who live there aren't like proper Semites, right? So they
Yeah.
aren't from there. They're all most of them are like immigrant blood in them. So you're gonna get a lot of Europeans, Eastern Europeans, like a lot of Polish, Romanians, so on and so forth. Like DNA tests are legit banned in Israel for that very reason. It's just a joke,
That's
right?
wild. Yeah, I haven't taken that short yet, guys. I'm waiting for a breaker structure, but currently we're just pumping from support. Totals underneath resistance, 3.71 trillion. But I think if we get a close above this high of 3.71 trillion, we're good to target 3.75, an all-time high again. So that's just like a free long I'm looking at because I didn't
Yeah.
catch the retest of 3.6 trillion. That was so clean, by the way. If you check that total SR retest on 3.6
Actually,
yesterday.
that's a good thing. Let's look at total. That's something else I was gonna look at.
I
Total
got, I
one.
got I got 3.6 as support. I got 3.71 as resistance.
Yeah,
Also 3.
yeah, pretty similar. I got 3.63 to 3.72. Same area we rejected it last time, basically, guys. It's ABCDs again, wave structures. I do think we go higher. It might, you might get a pullback first, maybe retest the trend line or something, right? Something very, very simple. Even if something like this happened, that was just you'd keep in line with your high highs, high lows, general market structure, breakout retest, and then ultimately for now, I'll be looking. My first target would be 4.42 to 4.47 trillion at the breakout, right? For a potential top. Above that, 4.69, and after that we can just keep spouting levels all we want. But for now, the first level I'll be looking for is this, right? 4.42 to 4.47 trillion, let's say, before we see a potential top coming on total one. Okay, so there's this. Right, I've got like 20 minutes before Sherlock goes. So let's also look at Ethereum, right? There's something else to look at. If nothing else, we'll look at BTC and ETH today. And this is something I'm going to look at because, of course, ETH is going to be very important to watch for anyone that's trying to... where is it? Where's my proper ETH chart? There we go. ETH is a very important one to watch for those that are looking for alt season, right? If you want alt season, you want ETH to do well, you want ETH highs, right? And you want ETH BTC, of course, to be rallying up as well, right? So you want those to be going up. This is the area we were talking about. right? We were saying if you lose, and this was back in March, February 2025. There's loads of, you can go and look at the streams we did back then. It's there on YouTube for you to see now in terms of recordings. We're saying if you ever lose this, expect 1.5 again. But if 1.5 holds, then at a minimum expect moves back up, back to this area, and if you get above that, this is the range you're working with. This has always been the range that you've been working with, right? You broke above initially, resistance, resistance, support, resistance, support, resistance, loss, and now reconfirmation of support, right? So the last time I did a stream with you guys, what I was saying was there is nothing to be done on ETH where we were, right? Because we were in this parallel channel when we last did a stream, I believe. Yeah, we were somewhere within this parallel channel. What I was saying to you guys was there's nothing to be done at this range because you've taken out, right? In terms of what did ETH do, if you look at the daily, you have your series of lower highs and lower lows, lower highs and lower lows. You took out the last lower high that led to the lower low. So all you know, that's what we call a change of character, right? That is, this is like, if you're in a set of traffic lights, this is your amber light. It's your put your foot on the accelerator, but you're not ready to go quite yet. You were waiting simply for a confirmation of a trend shift, right? This is not indication of a trend shift because this could lead to a new lower low, right? And that all you would have done is put a macro lower high in. What you're waiting for is a higher low to come in. And what I was telling you guys was I'm not doing anything for ETH over here. I'm not sizing up. I'm not doing anything because the place where I want a higher low is either if you go and flip this into support before we get the pullback, or more importantly, if you get that pullback back to this area. That was literally the trigger that I was saying for you guys to watch for. This one right over here, right? So we got the pullback held, and then that was the entry trigger, right? This was the size up for Ethereum, added more spots to this area, and then from there, we've been now going back up. Something else we did beautiful with this is, of course, apart from just the actual confirmation of, okay, you have now a low, high, higher low. Now you're going to be higher high, and then higher low. ETH is undeniably now in an uptrend. It is no longer in a downtrend. Okay, you're not going to be shorting this at every random level thinking I've called the top, I've called the top, I've called the top. Don't do that mistake. It's in an uptrend now. Until the trend shifts back to a downtrend, there is no point taking a short thinking you've called the top. Just wait for the trend to resolve, right? So above historical price range 3 mid, which was basically at 3k, right? Our next key area, we're going to get anywhere between 3,581 to 4,028. It's just what it is. That's the next key area you always go to, right? You do have minor resistance. Actually, I'm not going to say minor resistance. You do have resistance, let's say, where we currently are, right? Around 3,180, let's say. But as long as you're above it, which we are literally trying to do right now, as long as you get above it, we can see rejected, but now you've gone above. You're gonna go back up now, right? Your next levels are going to be higher, and the higher level is going to correlate with 3,581.34 to 4,028.31. Right? ETH looks absolutely beautiful, and this is why you do not feed into narratives. You do not trade based off news, because everyone in the grandmothers was constantly shitting on ETH on the way down, and I understand why, right? It wasn't performing well, but the thing I kept telling you guys was, just because it's not performing well here does not mean you write the assets off, right? When things get into value and beautiful structures start coming in, and there was so much buyer absorption going on here, right? We saw that as well. This is where you take the bid. You don't listen to anyone. You don't care what CT is saying. You buy some, whatever project you're looking at, right? Because at the end of the day, macro structure was respected. You rated the low, so anyone that was long from all the way down in 2023, everyone's been stopped out. You stopped everyone out with the SFP to the upside. Aggressive sellers got trapped. Key levels were respected. Seasonality is on your side, right? Risk to reward is on your side. Not for a short, not to eat everything back to the ether, but to take longs, to buy, right? And then now we're here, which is why it's so quiet. If you look at the timeline, it's so quiet. We should be celebrating this, because this ETH going up is going to be the catalyst that gives us alt season, right? You want ETH to go up first. Generally, even though it's not happening exactly like it did last cycle, we're still getting the overarching sort of narrative, right? Bitcoin goes up first, followed by Ethereum, and after that's when your alts absolutely go ham, right? We're in that Ethereum phase now, right? Ethereum looks absolutely beautiful to go up. So for me, Ethereum, I do think it's going to go and put new highs in. I really hope it does. If it doesn't, I'll be very disappointed, right? But your first target, of course, somewhere around 4,776, right? It's going to fall in line with your previous highs. You've got ABCD there, 786 to a 1.272. So a very safe target is 4,776. Above that, I do think, I'm not going to be one of those people that's going to give you a 10k ETH target this cycle. I don't think it's going to happen this cycle. Sorry if that's going to sound, if that goes against what you think, but I do not see us getting 10k ETH this cycle. Anywhere between 5,890 to a maximum of 6,519 is what I'd be looking for. Right, but if you go here and I see massive sellers start to step in, I'm not going to wait for this. I'm going to be taking very, very big profits on my spots, on my swing long, once we get to these areas. That's it. Until then, now you just sit on your hands. You don't have to do anything. You just sit on your hands. You watch the trade go up. That's it. Right, you position here. Now you just just wait until you get to your destination, basically. But now, even if ETH pulls back, as long as we are holding this, right? We are currently at, if I do this, there is a weekly bearish fair value gap right over here. You're above it. You could do something like this, right? S&P here, but as long as you're holding this as support now, right? This basically this white line, this zone, as long as that is support and not resistance, you are going to be going higher. Okay. If you S&P here and you fall back and you go and turn this into resistance here, that'll be a nice short to take back down towards this area probably, right? But you only take this short if, and again, that's going to be a scalp to short as well. It's not going to be a straight up swing short down to this area, right? It's going to be a discretionary short. But that's only going to happen if the actual bearishness comes in. And there is no signs of any bearishness happening here. What's probably going to happen is you're probably going to go up, probably going to get another sort of like pullback to a high low, some sort of compression, like some sort of chop in this area, until ultimately you get that next phase up, basically, right? That's probably what's going to happen. So Ethereum, absolutely beautiful, right? Of course, that goes on to ETH against BTC. ETH against BTC, extremely, extremely beautiful. Very, 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 very nice. Right, I think ETH against BTC has bottomed out. There is your the key levels we were looking at, right? So now your actual harmonic structures are still validated. It's not been invalidated. So even though there's a lot of lines, right? That's because there's years worth of data on this chart. Don't even think about this in terms of lines. Just think about it in terms of this. Next target is going to be this line right up here. As soon as you get above that, these are the levels you're going to be aiming at for ETH against BTC. Okay, that macro point of control is the one thing that's going to be providing you with big resistance. As soon as you get above it, value area high to other value area highs, this level is where I'll be looking for next on ETH against BTC. I literally had like a $150 challenge account open on ETH against BTC, right? And that thing's currently sat at like $800, and I'm not even fully cashed in yet, right? So when this flips into support, I'll buy more, and that's when the big impulsive candles come in. And this is what I mean. Look, you won't really get impulsive until structure really shows you bullishness, right? We weren't really impulsive here. You've got more areas to buy, big candles aren't coming in, and then this is what we haven't got yet, right? Where it does not give you a shot to buy whatsoever. Just up and up and up and up. That's the kind of candles that's going to come in once we go parabolic. We haven't gone parabolic yet, okay? So ETH against BTC, also beautiful, right? I need to size up on this more. But Ethereum, so to answer another question, someone was saying, how do you know when to go from, Bitcoin into alts? You are going to be wanting to look at Bitcoin pairings, okay? I forgot who asked that question. Hang on, let me go and check. Someone asked that question. Yeah, Ahmed, you asked that, bro. If you're still here, you're going to want to look at Bitcoin pairings, right? That's what you're looking at for, that's going to be your best friend, basically. So this right here I'm looking at is a Bitcoin pairing, right? Typically, you look at USDT pairings, for example. This is ETH against US dollar, right? This is the ETH USDT chart. That's my swing position. Hang on, wait, let me just get that off there. This is my this is the USDT pairing, right? So what this is comparing is Ethereum against the US dollar, right? What you want to do is you also want to look at charts where you're not just going to compare it to the dollar, but you're going to compare it to the Bitcoin pairs as well. So let me give you an example, right? And my favorite example I like to give is Sol. Because Sol is something I was buying like an absolute madman, down from like $8 up towards $30, right? I had the biggest bag of Sol. So Sol, USDT, well, if you were to just look at the USDT chart, right, for Solana, if you were to just look at the USDT chart, sure, I mean, there were still reasons for why you would have bid Sol down over there, right? There were still reasons for why you would have bid Sol down over there, but perhaps it wasn't the clearest for why you would bid this down over here, right? Perhaps you want more confidence for, okay, but why should I be in Sol? Well, aside from the fact you're already at like, this was a crazy discount from all-time highs. Hang on, this was like a, yeah, this was a 96% discount, right, from all-time highs. Apart from the fact a layer one is giving you a 96% discount, the main thing here was, if you look at Sol against BTC, right, that's the main thing to look at here. And one sec. The reason you look at BTC pairings is because now here is Sol against BTC, okay? What this is doing is this is not comparing Solana against the US dollar anymore. It's comparing Solana against Bitcoin itself. So what does this chart mean? How would you read this chart? You would read it exactly like you would a US dollar chart, right? But the difference is, whatever strength or weakness you see here is now going to be relative to Bitcoin rather than the dollar. Meaning, if you see, for example, that Solana is putting in a macro bullish bat. Again, for those of you that do harmonics, you know this is a very, very beautiful shape, right? You have 886, you have a 0.5, you're basically an 886 up there. This is a macro, multi-year wave structure, bullish bat, right? The bullish bat has also hit some sort of liquidity pocket. There's going to be something there, like a fair value gap or something. Yeah, there's a monthly fair value gap down there, right? Higher time frame liquidity pocket. So let's think. There's also your SR levels here. So we have confluence number 1, confluence number 2, confluence number 3. 3 premium higher time frame confluences there already. Now on top of that, what else do you have? You have the fact you've hit it, and then you put a double bottom in, right? So now sellers have once again attempted to take control and push price lower, but buyers have defended this area. So not only do you have those 3 very powerful confluences, you have price action telling you that buyers are in control of this area. If this was a US dollar chart, you would buy spot here, right? But this isn't the US dollar chart. So why would you look at this and still buy spot Solana? Because what you're saying here is all this strength now is coming up against Bitcoin. So what this is telling you is, if Solana was to now, what it did here is go turn what was once support back into support, and then you broke out, right? Falling wedge breakout, supply line breakout, and the last opportunity you had for a really good entry was this right here. That would be your $32, $34 bids, right? That was the last size up I did, very, very tiny amount. I did like 15% left in cash that for my Solana allocation I added over here. Breakout retest. This entire structure is telling you that at this low, buyers are in control. This is a cumulative structure. You have smiley faces, right? You have supports being held, you have double bottoms. All this is occurring against Bitcoin. And now this Solana now here looks ready to break out against Bitcoin, not the dollar. So what does that mean? That means Solana looks ready to outperform Bitcoin. So the question is, would you rather have held Solana or Bitcoin from these lows? Well, if you were to look at this chart, what this chart is clearly telling you, Solana looks ready to run against Bitcoin. That means that percentage-wise, Solana looks ready to yield better percentage returns than Bitcoin does. Therefore, you would be better off if you had the choice, Bitcoin or Solana, right? Of course, realistically, you'd go for both. But if you had to choose gun to head one, you would choose Solana over Bitcoin at this particular period, and you would have outperformed a Bitcoin. That's the main goal. If you're going to take the risk, not buying Bitcoin at the lows, and you're going to go for alt instead, you've got to make sure you do everything in your power that you're buying something that looks ready to outperform Bitcoin. Because otherwise, you've taken more risk for less return. What's the point of doing that, right? So to further answer your question, you're going to be looking at traditional USDT charts, but this is something we've been talking about for years, right? You're also going to be looking at your Bitcoin pairings, not just the Bitcoin pairings, you're also going to be looking at Ethereum pairings now. Okay, so this is Solana against Bitcoin. You can go here and you can do Sol against ETH now, right? ETH, there you go. So now this is exact same thing, but this is now showing you Solana against Ethereum, right? So again, at the lows, what did we have? We had Solana raiding the lows, and then reclaiming it into support. Look, this is telling you there is no place that is better to buy than here, because you're literally at the lows, because your risk is so easy to manage. If you turn this to resistance, just sell. Otherwise, Solana looks absolutely ready to outperform Ethereum, is what this was saying. And of course, we know Solana massively outperformed Ethereum. Massively. And now, again, this is something I've shared as well. Something else is we have now a bearish wave structure. We had something bullish happening here. We had something bearish complete over here. Right? You had a macro deep crab, which led to a macro bat, and now this is telling you Ethereum looks ready to start outperforming Solana, because Solana does not look strong against ETH, and we've seen recently Ethereum's been absolutely outperforming Solana over the last few months. It's very easy to see. Just go look at the Sol USDT pairing, right? So just go look at the Sol USD chart, which is right over here, right? Yeah, it looks great, but now go and look at the ETH chart. We can clearly see which has been outperforming. It's been Ethereum, right? But the signs have been there. And again, this is something I posted in my channel as well. I'm sure I did for the actual 886s. I posted that on my channel, right? So the signs were there. You're just going to be able to, that's what I mean, right? Significant levels, analyze price action, which is what we've just done. And after that, just take a risk managed entry, right? Over time, profitability is going to be like a byproduct, right? It's just going to come. But so yeah, that's further answer your question, bro. Those are the kind of things you're looking for, right? Especially when you now decide that, okay, maybe you right now all you have is Bitcoin, and you decide that you want to go into something else. You're going to want to see, does this thing look ready to outperform Bitcoin or not, right? So on and so forth. Does this thing look ready to outperform Ethereum, right? You can do this. You can do this with anything. But okay. So just to quickly finish this off before Sherlock goes on in 4, let me go to Total 1. Total 1 looks great. Like I was saying, we've got higher targets, right? There's so much like others dominance, so on and so forth to look on. What else? Bitcoin dominance, that's something else to look on as well. Beautiful drop, and in fact, this is again something else we've been looking at for a long time, because who remembers this chart, right? We've been saying, look, 618 to the 1.618 2-week fair value gap. That's the next area I'd want to see Bitcoin top come in. That got front ran, officially got hit, right? So that 2-week fair value gap's been filled. The 1.618 has been hit. This could be the top. Right, I'm not gonna call a Bitcoin dominance top yet, because this thing is very much still in an uptrend. This could put another higher low in and then just go, right? It could retest and just have one more final spike up perhaps, until we have a confirmed, like, where's that? So we do this, right? We go take this last high low that led to the high out, and then we go and put a lower high in here somewhere perhaps. Until this happens, also are going to struggle to go parabolic. But once that break of structure gets confirmed, also absolutely run. So just watch for that. Watch to see, do we shift to a downtrend or not, basically. That's all we're looking for now. If we don't do here, 66% is where I look for next. If you get above 66%, the next area I think is pretty much going to be 70 to 74%, right? So hopefully this is it though. Because if this is it, and it takes like us, let's say somewhere around a month or two to confirm the breakdown and the trend shift, then we're looking for these type of candles to come in. Look, this is going to correlate to your alts going absolutely crazy. Okay, we want something like that coming in while Bitcoin goes sideways. If Bitcoin is also doing this while this is happening, the alts are gonna die. Okay, so we want Bitcoin to be ranging, right, while this is happening, and that's going to really, really give us those absolutely crazy move up on altcoins. That's what you're looking for. But that is Bitcoin dominance. So this was a pretty short stream for me, guys. Sorry, I've been away, right? I'm opening 2 new restaurants by like Q2 next year. Second one will be open like by the end of this year. Next one will be open, should be open by Q2 of next year, somewhere around like midway through next year, basically. So just a lot of like back and forth for those. I've also been in the Isle of Man for like a week, because one of my friends he launched his own business too, and it was there for a pop-up. So I was just helping him out with a pop-up. So I was in the Isle of Man. So that's why I haven't been able to stream as regularly as I typically do. But for like about for the next 6 weeks, I should be able to do like pretty consistent streams. After that, I'll be in Asia for 2-3 months. I'll have sporadic streams. I'll have my laptop with me, but obviously, like time frame wise, it'd be hard for me to stream then. If something crazy happens, I'll still stream when I'm there. But for like the next 6 weeks, like I should be able to stream pretty regularly again. So you can catch me there. But thank you guys for your time today. If anyone's interested in learning the way I trade, just reach out. Right, I still have my one-on-ones open, but it's only gonna be open for like a few more months. After that, I'm just gonna close it. So yeah, no problem at all, Ahmed, bro. Hopefully that helped. But yeah, that's gonna be it from me. I think Sherlock's gonna be streaming soon, so if you guys got time, stick around. He's very knowledgeable as well. But yeah, guys, I'm gonna end the stream here and catch me next week.